Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. And it feels like we waited 1,000 freaking years to get to this point, ever since 5 chapters ago when Nacht mentioned that he is going to make Asta the strongest and use his devil power. We finally made it, guys. Celebrations up in this bitch. Yo!
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Asta has finally begun his devil training with Nacht, and this is all so that he can become the ultimate warrior for the Clover Kingdom. And do I have to say it one more time? Do you guys really want? He has to go rescue Yami, right? We all sim for Yami. This dude is a simp. Oh yeah, and William, of course.
Bruh.
Now, if you have been reading the manga or keeping up with our videos like the amazing people that you are, then you know that this is a huge deal, because if they're not able to become strong enough to stop the Triad's plan, then 90% of humanity will be obliterated. We've got a lot to unpack this video. Of course, I'm going to use Bull's prediction magic. Don't you worry, guys, as I am going to explain Nacht's personality and what he was inspired from, and you know, a bit more history about Black Clover that you didn't know. So, if you want this type of content on a weekly basis, make sure to let me know by getting this video to 25,000 likes. I know you guys can do this because you surpass your limits in every Black Clover video. Like, god damn.
God damn!
I'm beyond grateful to you guys, and I ask you to continue to support us by liking the video, subscribing, as well as slashing that notification bell with your big black sword. Wait, that sounds wrong. Oh shit! So last week's chapter was all about Noel and everyone else in the Heart Kingdom. Noel is going to learn the ways of the elves' magic, as this was foretold to us through Licht when he used his ultimate magic against Zagrid. Now, of course, no one died from Varnika's attack or the explosions she created because of, there's this one thing called, plot armor.
Of course!
Guys, I'm sorry. I think Varnika is trash. There, I said it. You can roast me in the comments all you want. Go ahead. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
No, you ain't.
But this week immediately brings us back to the Clover Kingdom, and we see Julius Novachrono talking with Garja through a magic item and explaining the plan Nacht discussed. Garja assures Julius that they're gathering up forces and doing everything in their power to become strong enough to accompany them on their surprise attack. He also mentions another country preparing to join them all, and unless we're going to see some new country that hasn't been revealed yet, he's most likely talking about the Diamond Kingdom. Charlotte says to herself that she will not let Yami die, and she is thinking about him constantly because, you know, she wants that death frost for herself on their wedding night.
Give your meat a good old rub.
Meanwhile, at the Black Bull hideout, Nacht has a talk with the other members of the Black Bull squad about the plan and why he hasn't been around. Finral and Vanessa mention how they've never met Nacht before, and he has never been to the hideout even once. They ask, why is this the case? Doesn't Nacht care about them? But he responds by saying, wait, am I reading this right? He says he hates the Black Bulls?
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Bruh, how in the hell are you gonna be straight-faced and say you hate Yami? Now you hate the entire Black Bulls?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
But nah, I'm kidding. I totally get it. I'll explain why he says this later on in the video. Make sure to stick around. Nacht explains that he's fine as long as he can move as a magic knight, and that there is great freedom and convenience that comes with being a vice captain. However, he hates people who don't do things right, and that the Black Bulls are essentially the epitome of this. The Black Bulls have a reputation for always doing far more damage than good. He even goes as far to say that their efforts against the elves and Zagrid are basically meaningless, as it doesn't erase their past actions. He then starts calling everyone out on their flaws, roasting all of them, calling Vanessa a vulgar drunken witch, Finral a sloppy spatial mage who is too distracted by women, so much so that it would affect his performance on missions, and Gorsh a fallen royal who was once a prisoner. Nacht calls out the entire squad as a bunch of useless bastards, and the only thing I can can think is, boy, is he lucky that Asta isn't in the room. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, he'd beat the shadow-loving ass out of him.
When I see that nigga, hey, I ain't even gonna say nothing to that nigga. I ain't saying nothing.
Nacht says that he hates them all, but if they want to rescue Yami, they better get strong in the next 2 days, and then he dips. Now, it doesn't say this, but I'm assuming in the next panel that it's the next day, because he said in chapter 262 that they'd be waiting until the next morning to start training. Nacht and Asta start walking out of one of his shadows, and Asta says he's been curious about Nacht's magic. Nacht explained and confirms that his magic is in fact shadow magic, and Asta points out that it works a lot like spatial, so it's very convenient. It appears that Nacht has taken Asta to what we can presume is Nacht's old childhood home, but what we know for a fact is that it's run down. Like, you know, it looks way worse than the Black Bull hideout, and it seems it's been that way for a very long time. The house seems to have been ransacked or attacked by an enemy or thief. Asta asks whose this house belongs to, however, and Nacht states that it needs to belong to a certain noble, which we can put together to possibly mean his father or mother, or maybe even his twin brother, as we see an old photo of a family consisting of a man and woman, both with black hair, and 2 young children, but one of them has their face covered by what looks to be blood. This means Nacht could be a noble and his whole family has died, including his sibling. There could be a theory here that it's Nacht's twin brother, because if we look back at chapter 263, Jack seems to recognize Nacht, right? Believing he remembers him from his time in the Grey Deer with Yami. But then Nacht says that man is gone, which we thought meant he is a different person since he gained control of the devil and lost his humanity. But in actuality, he could have also meant his twin brother was in the same squad as Yami long ago, and the house they're currently in used to be his, but now they're all dead. So we just have to wait on what direction Tabata decides to take the story. The chapter then shows Asta and Nacht walking deep enough in the house that Nacht decides to use his shadow magic to take them a floor below, and they fall into a room that looks exactly like the kind of place you learn to control your devil power. like seriously, this would be me if I suddenly dropped through the floor and saw a room like this, fam. This place looks like the last place I'd wanna be, which means it's exactly where I'd expect to see someone like Nacht. He tells Asta that for the next 2 days, he'll be teaching him everything he knows about how to control the devil's power. And after that, Asta would be able to progress rapidly and become exponentially stronger. This is because as of right now, Asta isn't controlling the devil's power. He's merely using what leaks out from his devil. He then explains that they'll be doing something called the ritual of a servant, a taboo ritual that seizes the power of the devil by having a formal contract with it. And with this contract, Asta will be able to bring out the anti-magic devil's power. He explains that normally one would need a talisman or some kind of object that has a connection with the devil in question, but in Asta's case, his arm, grimoire, and essentially his entire existence is rather connected to the anti-magic devil. So this is the reason why his relationship is so special with him. Okay, so for those of you that have seen our Black Clover history videos, where I talk about how Tabata created this series through the use of real-life texts and grimoire, such as the Kabbalah, Grand Grimoire, and the Lesser Key of Solomon, you would already know the inspiration of the talisman and obeying a demon idea Nacht presents to Asta in chapter 266. So, you know what this means, right? Say it with me, guys. Boss D, prediction magic is just way too powerful.
Damn, that shit good.
This is why it's so important that you have the notification button turned on for the channel. That way we are all on the same page as the community. I'll put the link to this series in the pinned comment. Essentially, real grimoire were books to create protective amulets, talismans, and heal illnesses. However, just like the anime, there are grimoire dark in nature and revolve around the devil. Most real-life grimoires, such as the Book of Moses, the Grand Grimoire, and the Book of Shadows, have ties back to the Kabbalah that Black Clover mentioned itself through the character of Dante, right? Now remember, Owen Davies, he is a historian that created a book called The History of Grimoire, where Tabata has played homage to him through the character Owen in the show. He explains that in reality, a grimoire is a textbook of magic which witches and magicians created with the instructions of how to perform magic spells that summon or invoke supernatural entities such as angels, demons, or spirits. The Grand Grimoire was specifically used as it is linked to the Key of Solomon, which features the many different demons we see in Black Clover, including Asta. Book 1 of this grimoire contains invocations and curses to summon and constrain spirits of the dead and demons in order to compel them to do the operator's will. We see just that in chapter 266 and in this training arc where Nacht is teaching Asta on how to do just that. And when we look at the spell that Nacht is using, he creates a ritualistic circle just like you would do in real life. Now, I'm not saying you should do this shit in real life, because if you did, oh my lord.
Fuck this.
Now, Nacht has 4 different talismans because he controls 4 different demons. Each talisman he has on his neck is associated with the animal masks that they were wearing. For example, you can see a feather talisman on his necklace because one of his devils looks like some sort of bird. And thanks to the people on Twitter for this and all those lovely ass people from the comment section in our other videos, we found out where Tabata got inspired from to create these designs. The 4 demons Nacht has is actually inspired from a famous German fairy tale. This fairy tale is known as the Town Musicians of Bremen. In the story, a donkey, a dog, a cat, and a rooster all passed their prime years in life and usefulness on their respective farms. They were soon to be discarded or mistreated by their masters. One by one, they leave their homes and set out together. They decide to go to Bremen, known for its freedom, to live without owners and become musicians there. They create a saying which is something better than death we can find anywhere, right? So just from this backstory and inspiration Tabata has taken, this makes even more sense since Nacht in German means night and Licht means light. So his character is the polar opposite and representation of duality within the world. This gives us an idea of what Nacht's story must be like, similar to the concept that fits the theme of the Black Bulls, since they are all outcasts of society that have to go above and beyond to receive praise by the corrupt monarchy system. So from the German fairy tale that Tabata was inspired from, this would then even explain why Nacht roasts every single one of them in the start of chapter 266, since he may feel anger or insecurity at the said fact that the other Black Bulls conform and depict the very idea of how society has deemed them to be, just like the animals in the fairy tales, that they are useless and past their prime of their lives. This backstory explains why Nacht is outspoken and he has this no-nonsense approach to everyone he encounters, since his whole family died with only him surviving. He doesn't want to abide by society's rules, expectations, or regulations that is imposed on him for being his true self. This is again a cornerstone in his character, as he said in the chapter that he loves the freedom of being a magic knight and the vice captain. He wants to feel liberty, right? Now, a lot of fans have been messaging me after this chapter dropped on Twitter that Nacht just explained to us that Asta's very being is linked to the anti-magic demon. He is different from the other Weg magic users and seems to be special. Dante also mentioned this to us in some sort of way, as even he didn't know why the anti-magic demon is outside of hell and can give Asta 100% of his full power, unlike Lucifer and the other Dark Triad members. This would explain why Asta has a mutation and no mana too. This also confirms my analysis that a soul is connected to a grimoire, as Asta may verily be connected to his devil in more than one way, not only the arm that he recently gave away. When the anti-magic demon reveals how he looks like, it's a lot like Asta himself. So this could mean that Asta is an otherworldly experiment, the other half of this demon that needs to complete the vessel. It could be his parents that created a contract or something like that, or his twin brother or something great. greater. There has to be a reason to why Asta looks like the anti-magic demon, right? It could be something dumb and simple that is because of his vessel, like duh, obviously it looks like his vessel. Like, you know how in Bleach and you have the hollow version of Ichigo, they both look the same, right? But I don't want to repeat myself over and over again, because at the end of the day, Balls Deep prediction magic is gonna be correct in the end. We all know that, right?
Of course!
There are about 1 billion theories on the channel, so I'd suggest if you're interested in this topic, go check out the series in the pinned comment, Who is the Anti-Magic Demon, and then you will learn more. At the end of the chapter, Asta steps on the big ritual circle thing, and before he knows it, the entire thing is covered in black energy, and his arm starts to disappear. Suddenly, his right arm is completely gone, and his devil is standing right in front of him, laughing as always, saying, he says that he didn't know Nacht and Asta would be the ones to let him out. Suddenly, he sees himself starting to reveal his true face, as I said, and it's crazy. Nacht then says to Asta, you must fight the devil and win. So that's everything I wanted to say for this week. Make sure to smash the like button, follow us on Twitter, Discord, or Instagram, and guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. We'll see you guys next time.